Good evening, we'll go ahead and start tonight's meeting on April 13th. The first item on the agenda is consider approving the minutes held from the March 23rd meeting. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of March 23rd meeting.
Second motion.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Next thing is to vote on the liquor license or special amusement permit renewal for the Thirsty Mill on Top of the Hill.
We ran a check on them and very little service requirements. I think they had a couple of accidents out front of the store and 911 hang up, but nothing that's even mentionable.
Do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the liquor license for the Thirsty Mule,
Second.
special amusement and liquor license.
Special amusement.
Second. All in favor?
I'm gonna send that right through.
Thank you.
Joe?
Oh, no, it's this one.
Oh, you got the...
I got the original.
Who signed it?
Keep that one for my records.
Yes, please. And then, here, this one.
Thank goodness I got this pen.
Mm-hmm.
And the next item is to the vote on formation of a gazebo committee.
I would like to have a committee appointed to address the gazebo, and so we can get the ball started on that. We have 8 people, me included, who are interested in getting this thing started. We actually have a meeting planned for the first week in May, next month. Maybe we can get something fired up. Basically, the job of this committee is financing, trying to get funding for this. AJ Kane is going to sit on the committee as an advisor, and I'd like to think that we can build this ourselves if we can get the funding for the materials. So, any questions on the committee members that are selected or have asked to sit on the committee? Everybody's okay with that? Are there any suggestions, or if any of you would like to sit on the committee, I'd certainly find some room for you. And
I pass it every day. I'd like to be on the committee, but I don't want to.
I think we've got eight people's fine. I think there's one other person who's asking to sit on it. I haven't got their name yet. One of the other committee members, Chris McPherson, has mentioned it to me. So we may end up with 9 members on this committee. I think it's going to be a short-term one, probably a year, to get this thing going.
You want to vote? I'd make a motion we allow the town manager to form a gazebo committee for a new gazebo down at the landing.
I'll second.
All in favor? Then we have to sign a warrant and notice for election for RSU referendum.
There's another
We'll sign it.
You could stay.
You just did.
Huh?
You just had a stand. Look at that.
You're not reading each of these like I am.
Yeah.
Oops, I'm sorry.
I actually have a write-in also on this to sign the sewer commitment if you would like to start that, Joe.
Yeah, we were able to get a hold of the superintendent to ask.
I did, and we have a date scheduled for the 11th of May, for him to come in to speak with the council.
I didn't see John Cox's name on that committee for the gazebo. He doesn't know me much.
So we burned him out on his last one.
Flowers.
He likes good time.
That's not the,
I think-
Paul Brandon, is that
I
right?
think it'd be good on the flower committee.
The flower.
It's going at the boat with the beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, on Willie Ford, on that road.
With a
They put the gravel in
level.
there. Didn't they put some gravel in where it's gonna be?
Yeah, grab the pad there.
I've got too many things going on here.
There's a bigger gravel. Okay, we'll go ahead and continue on. Go ahead.
Managers report.
Yep.
Just some committee updates. We've, as you know, formed the Oakland Downtown Committee, and I've given you the bylaws for that committee. And Dana has actually looked at it, and he's made a suggestion on a change on the mission statement. We've had 3 meetings so far. We've got a very energetic committee. We have 14 members on it, with me included, and they are working to brainstorm ways to improve our downtown. We've actually got another contest that's in the works to just kind of generate some beauty down there. We've got our next meeting, we've got the downtown, Skowhegan Downtown Director will be coming down to speak with us, to give us some ideas on how to continue to grow this. You know, and basically the whole idea of this is to generate some excitement downtown, business retention, and attracting new possible businesses, you know, and just brainstorm new ideas for the downtown. Any questions on that?
I think this is a great continuation of your Christmas decoration committee you had last year.
Yeah, we've got some pretty good energy in that group. It's a big committee, and there's a lot of things going. There is a Facebook page for the committee that's up and going right now, and that'll be updated on a regular basis. And we have 3 different administrators on it. One is Max Marston, the other one's Milo Kuchar, who owns Kuchar Hairstyles, and Rick Stark. And so there's a lot of ideas being thrown around right now.
Awesome.
Oakfest committee updates. This year is going to really, I think, be a very exciting year. If the weather cooperates, we've got the Lions Club, Claire Watson, who is kind of leading up the parade. We have 50 floats, 4 marching bands for the parade. This is going to be quite a parade, probably the biggest one I think Oakland's probably seen forever. I can't imagine anything much bigger. We've got Richard Jandro has been signed on for the DJ for the street dance. As you know, we're going to have business after hours on Wednesday the 20th. Matt Marquis from Higgins and Boldick has rented a large tent that's going to encompass that entire parking lot. And he is generous enough to go and leave the tent up so that we can utilize it for Thursday night and on Friday night. So the beer tent scenario is not going to be so tight if we do get inclement weather. The schedule's changed a little bit. We have a fishing derby that is scheduled for Sunday the 17th. And it's looking more and more like this could be a week-long celebration. And we're filling in the holes as we go on. So it's going from the 17th to the 20th. And then the 21st, we're going to utilize the tent, and we're going to have a paint night. That's real big in this area. A lot of people have been going to these competitions to learn how to paint and art, and we're going to have 40 different setups in there so people can come in and they're going to pay X amount so that they can paint, and we may have a wine tasting involved in that. We're also, at the same night, it looks like Bob Marley's coming to town, and he's going to be doing a show at the Pack Center at the high school. And that's just forming right now. And then We've got 3 live bands that are gonna be playing on Saturday. The hours are extending from 5 PM to 7 PM. We have 2 bands during the day that are coming up from Portland. We have 1 local band with Pam Tyler from Riverside Market. That's going to be the lead singer for that. That's going to be the 7 PM band. And a lot more vendors this year. So things are really coming out to be pretty exciting. The triathlon is being head up by Holly McKenzie. And if you're familiar with Holly McKenzie, she has quite a following. She was the North America Under Armour ambassador last year. She's been Maine's strongest woman for 2 years in running, and she has her own online exercise program, and she has a lot of people follow her. And so I'm anticipating a real big year, and obviously everything's wrapped around weather. But if we get last year for our first year was in my mind huge, and I think it's going to be fun this year.
I got a band that you might want to listen to on Facebook called Down East Coalition. They play jazz, funk, and soul. They were down at the Rock Tide Inn. They had a battle with the bands in the whole area. Vega came in second, and the people when I was at the Rock Tide Inn was like 30 and over, and they really enjoyed it. Like I said, if you go to Facebook, you can listen to all of their music.
Well, this year the venue is full, Gene, but that'd be a consideration for next year.
Yeah,
So if
okay.
you could just drop that name off to me, we'll look into it for next year.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. New construction updates would be the next thing on the agenda. As you can see, things are moving along. We had a few days of rain, which kind of put us behind the 8 ball. The projected completion date was set for August 15th, and because of the rain, now we're looking at about August 19th. So they've got this really screwed right down with the end date on it. And a lot of people are thinking that it might end quicker than that. The way the project is starting is they're going to be pouring cement on Friday for footings. Monday they're coming in, they're going to be pouring frost walls. Next Wednesday, they're going to be pouring the floor, and they'll probably start walls on the following week. So this is going at an extremely fast rate. We've taken care of our parking issues. This has been an ongoing job. I've sent out a safety notice. I think that everybody, all the committee, the council has got a copy of that. And just be advised, if you do go inside the fence, you have safety requirements that we have to meet. And John Scott and company, their safety advisor, will be on premise every day, and he'll be enforcing all these rules strictly because of OSHA, Department of Labor. Any questions on the construction updates? I have 2 add-ons on this. One is the library report, which I've handed out. I believe you all have a copy of that. And there's nothing remarkable on it. She's had pretty much a status quo month, and everything's going well. And the other thing that I have is actually to sign a forfeiture for the police department. The police department is receiving, or is planning on receiving $1,680 for drug forfeitures. And it's the same process that we've used before. The courts won't award it unless we get the signatures on it. Mr. Chairman, as you're passing that through, this is for the safety committee for the town. If I could get your signatures on that, that just basically signs and approves us for continuing our safety program along to the next year. So yeah, come on.
I looked that over. Do you have a regular safety meeting for different departments?
We have safety personnel. It's made up of the different departments, and we meet quarterly. And we discuss any problems that we've had, any ways to improve, any issues that we may be looking at. And that, Janet, have you got anything else that we need to add on to this?
I don't,
Okay. And that concludes everything that I have, you know.
Did you have anything tonight, sir? Ma'am, did you have anything tonight?
Yes, I'm interested in some property that evidently the town owns and want to throw my hat into looking to purchasing it. I don't know what you consider it, if it was the old firehouse or the old schoolhouse, but it's located down on Church Street.
It's the property that Norm Biggie has next to his property.
The old schoolhouse. My first knee-jerk reaction to the question is, was that a historical landmark? We held it?
It is a historical building within the town of Oakland, and I think at one point Norm had offered to purchase that property, but the council had refused to sell it. But what they did was you entered into a contract with Norm that allows him use of the building as long as he maintains and upgrades the building. He is in violation of contract. I have spoke with him since Heidi has come in to meet with me, and I advised Norm that there is a buyer who's interested in it. And Norm said to me that if anybody buys it, it gets a chance that he wants to buy it because it's located so close to his business and house. And so it was going on the agenda on the May 11th agenda to discuss this, and Heidi's come in today, and so here we are. I don't have any of the contracts or paperwork with me, I wasn't prepared for this.
I remember many years ago when Ralph Barnum was chairman, he mentioned the schoolhouse being brought up before the town meeting. And the people actually voted to give the schoolhouse to the Historical Society, but the Historical Society never accepted the schoolhouse. I'm just wondering the legal ramifications of something on the books like that.
I haven't dug back into that. All I did was I went to the contract and looked, and he's a couple of years in violation, and he told me that he was going to get all of his, the contract up to speed real quick.
Can I explain what my purposes are?
Sure. I didn't know if you wanted to, that's all. I was like laying back on it, but I was thinking the same thing that Mark was thinking, because that was brought up. And
The council discussed that once too, that is why we wouldn't sell it to Norm Biggie, is the Historical Society still had an interest in it. And that's why we gave him a 5-year thing at a time. If he did some repairs, he could have it for 5 years.
So they did have an interest, or they did not have an interest, the historical?
they had an interest, but they didn't have any of this,
Okay.
to keep it updated.
And I've encountered that before. This isn't my first
Rodeo.
rodeo, so to
There you
speak.
go.
I'm still fairly new at it, but I've done some other renovations of a building that I moved in Maryland and renovated and lived in. I've approached other towns and councils, basically. It's a tough go-around, basically. It's like I kind of get the ball rolling, then everybody else gets interested in what I've done. My purpose is surely to save a piece of history, make something better than what it's been for years sitting there. I've gone by it, I've admired it, and now I have a purpose. I mean, I'd like to renovate the property, see that it stays in character historically. I'm not going to say that I'm precise to every nuance that maybe the Historical Society, but they could guide me certainly, or tell me. I'd like to renovate it, use it as a storage for my personal belongings. I'm an antique collector and dealer, have been for years. Ultimately, use it as a shop, potentially. You know, many kind of uses, you know, along that line, you know, work in it, you know, be able to refinish my furniture, the antiques, you know, bring some business into the town of Oakland, which is what you're seemingly looking for, and help your property taxes. So, I mean, I don't know, you know, Mr. Vayu, you say, I mean, if he pays anything towards that goal, but again, in trying to do the research, you know, I noticed that the roof, you know, needs some repair, and certainly the building itself, you know, could use some help. You know, what I would say is basically I'm coming to you, showing you that I'm interested and I'm willing to put my best foot forward. And certainly I understand that Mr. Vayu's property is so close to that, why wouldn't he want to then pursue it maybe more vigorously than he's been, but, you know, so I'd like the opportunity. And whoever I have to go towards the Historical Society to convince them of that. You know, I've already started the ball rolling because I am looking for an older building for this purpose, and when I remembered that and I went by it and it still looked like it was being somewhat neglected, I figured I'd do the research, and I've started with banks, you know, for financing, and that's pretty much well it.
The Historical Society problem wasn't just the money, it was a lot of age was against them too.
Of the historical society members.
Well, I'm not there yet, and I've got 2 under my belt. I own property in Waterville. I actually bought the old Oddfellows Lodge in Kelsey Street. It was basically vacant for many years and getting abused by kids in the neighborhood. Fortunately, it had very good bones, and I'm very lucky. But I purchased it directly from the Oakland Society, and y'all want to drive by, come by, see 21 Kelsey Street. So I've had a lot of people that admired the building for years, and when I was in the throes of the renovation, they'd actually stop their cars and yell out the window and say, we're so glad that somebody did something with this and is taking care of it, and I'm doing a good job. Evidently they like it. So I'd like just the other opportunity to do, and if this, you know, if you know of any other buildings, let me know. It was too late for this one.
Well, there was at least.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I didn't realize it until I talked to him.
Like I said, I did talk with Norm, I shared with him that there was a party who was interested in purchasing the building. He certainly got excited about that. And he expressed to me that if the council did choose to sell that, he certainly would like to be involved in the purchasing of it. And, whether it goes to a bid type situation, but first I think we need to find out if we're able to sell it. And 2, find out if the Historical Society has any interest in it. And 3, I don't know if this has to go to a town vote, or if the council is able to make this decision, where it is a part of Oakland's history, because it is a part of our history. And if this is a decision for the council, I can certainly do the homework on it and find out. And,
It's going to take a little work to dig into all the different aspects of it, but I think at the time that
with everything that I got
we
going
felt
on.
that we had permission to sell it, we just didn't want to because the Historical Society still was involved in it. We wanted to hold it for them until they could find the interest or the money to do something with it.
Heidi, are you planning on moving the building or keeping its current location?
No, I would keep it there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a little bit
It's
more
probably,
restricted.
15 feet from Norm's building? Or
Well, I know
closer?
that there's a fence that comes right up to it that I'm sure he put on to kind of designate, and that he uses the parking lot, associated with it, because he has the permission to, and, he needs the
Are you
parking.
planning on having customers come in and out of that particular location, or is that going to be storage only?
Eventually, I'd like to see it become, a shop if it's possible. I mean, and again, that's going to be governed by what you tell me.
Parking would be an issue there.
To some degree, and again, I have to see what the property lines are. Is the other outbuilding off to the side, to the right part of that kind of sits back?
Mrs. Kerr's garage.
That's,
Yeah, the shed?
Yes, Mrs. Kerr's.
That's the neighbor, farther up Church Street owns that.
Okay,
Right beside it.
okay. Okay, so I don't know the property lines. I haven't, gone to look at it. I didn't want to infringe on anybody until I kind of met with you guys. I mean, that's all up for discussion. Basically, if you tell me that, a viable business coming into Oakland isn't what you want, then it becomes my
Well,
storage
I
and
think
my...
it's a little deeper than that.
Yeah.
I think that what we're looking at is we have somebody who has a current interest in the building who was, certainly in a contract even though he's violated it, and then the proximity of this building to his building. So there's a few complicators involved in this, other than just wanting to, we certainly want all the businesses to come into Oakland that we can get. I mean, that's not even a discussion point.
And I would certainly want an amicable relationship with my next door neighbor too.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna work towards that goal too, so I'm flexible with what, I'm looking to do. I mean, if I had a yard sale every once in a great while, would that be, could we do it that way? I mean,
I'll do some research on it, and we'll put it on the the 11th agenda with my findings, and we can discuss this a little further. This is probably something that won't happen overnight.
Oh, I understand, I know there's a process. I guess my only, I would like to find out, I guess, whatever the first stepping stone is, if it's the Historical Society is the first decision-making process, and they say, no, then I'd rather know that sooner than later, moving forward, just so that I don't get my hopes up and that I can continue looking for what I need and want, and I'm not, spinning my wheels or losing out on another opportunity, I mean, as I explained to you, I'm committed to something that I put my mind to, and like I said, I'll work with whomever, he knows. I'm not daunted by many things.
I just went for that
This
post.
could certainly be a financial boom for Oakland, because if a bidding situation comes up between two parties, the price will stop whenever the affordability stops on it, so.
Right. I mean, we realize that, town, town-owned property usually is offered out, and it goes into a bid process. And, we're psychologically prepared for that, I guess. Financially, well, we'll see.
Yeah, emotionally.
We do have some other property we'd like to talk to you about up on the Gagnon Road.
Railroad Ave.
Yeah, really.
That one telephone pole out there.
Yeah, sure, if you know of other buildings, I mean,
I know there is
I
a
love the
house.
church on Gagnon Road, but.
There's a house on, I've been by the house on Gagnon Road.
Yeah, well, you're better off to keep going on.
Keep it. Don't slow down.
Don't say that. It's a beautiful home.
And I actually do prefer buildings over houses. Something, that has some kind of character and, I can help maintain and retain its character.
Well, he will look into it.
Okay,
On May 11th.
okay. Thank you. I'm sorry to add more to your plate.
That's okay. That's part of the job.
Well, thank you for that thought, though.
Thank you.
We'll be interested to see where it goes.
I'm a
Young lady,
little
did you
nervous.
have anything tonight? Jean, did you have anything tonight?
Yes, I got 3 things I'd like to bring up. I had talked earlier with a couple of people about a chicken ordinance, that where you can have them, where you can't have them, how much land you need, and all of that, where you want roosters, where you don't want roosters. Just as a rough guideline, say from the bridge here out towards Waterville. Fairfield Street where the broom handle stream comes across. But this will be subject to how much land. I'm just trying to get locations that are going to be there permanently. Not somebody's house and 10 years from now they tear it down and they build something else there. High Street, say where the railroad tracks are, but that would be subject to there again, to how much land that you can come back this way, plus the roads running off. Then High Street, say where the church is. Like I said, I'm trying to pick out permanent locations, but it would be subject to how much land. Then going out towards Belgrade would be right there at the railroad overpass. And then going out to towards the Little Road would be where that horse farm is, right there. And then you'd have to see how close you can be to the lake and stuff like that. And then you would have to decide how many, like a dozen they can have, or there again, depending on the land. Now, the next thing would be the windmill ordinance. I don't know if you have any or not, but some towns have it up to a mile away because they don't want it built there. Say if you have it a quarter of a mile, but when somebody comes here to get a permit, they have to sign a paper knowing that that windmill is there if they want to build within a quarter of a mile. So, but they can't go running, well, but we didn't know it was there, and it's making too much noise and stuff. They will already know ahead of time. And somehow the realtors should be forced to tell them. And then the last thing would be